Gotta get that boom, boom, boom. Gotta get that boom, boom, boom.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're looking at the most brazen examples of musical acts that changed their sound and public brand to capitalize on a broader market.
And it goes like this.
Number 20. Weezer. Weezer changed the image of rock stars in the 90s. The nerdy punks were outcasts among outcasts, acclaimed for their clever lyrics and ironically edged tone.
This way is a water slide away from me that takes it fuller every day.
But after mixed reactions to the Puccini-inspired album Pinkerton, they went on hiatus. The subsequent comeback was marked by cornier pop sensibilities, especially after the teeny bopper hit Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills, that's where I want to be.
Weezer continued to enjoy great success with a straight-faced take on pop rock, much to classic fans' lack of enjoyment.
I want to be there again.
Newer listeners and critics have generally appreciated the experimentation, including the more classic styles going into the 2020s. Of course, with those styles entailing a cover album and hair metal homages, Weezer aren't as subversive as they used to be.
My head is spinning. It's the beginning of the end.
Number 19. 30 Seconds to Mars. Movie star frontman Jared Leto initially gave 30 Seconds to Mars more commercial appeal than most experimental rock bands.
So I run and hide and tear myself apart.
With guitarist Tomo Milicevic, they began exploring an alternative aesthetic that truly matched critical acclaim with mainstream success. They even exposed persisting music industry injustices with a high-profile lawsuit against EMI Records. That's why it's so frustrating that the band went full pop after the personnel was reduced to Jared and Shannon Leto. Even for a group known for genre bending, this was a drastic shift.
Rescue me from the lovers in my life.
Many critics and fans were disappointed, but 30 Seconds has never been more popular. Who needs EMI when you have lucrative pop labels like Interscope and Concord? Well, they don't offer much for rock loyalists. Number 18. Bring Me the Horizon. It was hard to accuse Bring Me the Horizon of selling out when they first abandoned deathcore. Following their debut album's lukewarm reception, the band won a dedicated following with elevated melodic metalcore. They even developed a unique level of mainstream appeal for that genre. This naturally continued when Ali Sykes stopped screaming altogether for 2015's That's the Spirit.
So you can throw me to the wall. Tomorrow I will come back, leader of the whole pack.
Still, extreme metalheads were shocked by the shift to pop and electronic rock from there. BMTH were finally chart toppers, but they divided fans. Some appreciated their experimentation within a lighter sound, while others were frustrated with the sound itself. Luckily, BMTH has been gradually returning to metalcore, with continued commercial success. For better or worse, it still took dulling their edge to get there. Number 17. Nickelback. Some believe the love 'em or hate 'em lore of Nickelback goes back to the beginning.
I'm not a leader of men.
In fact, they were a hit early on for bringing rugged 90s grunge into the 2000s. Many even consider their breakout single, How You Remind Me, to be a genuine classic.
It's not like you to say sorry. I was waiting on a different story.
However, suspicions of trend leeching arose as Nickelback drifted from grunge to generic pop-oriented hard rock. The sentimental power ballads and sleazy party anthems particularly polarized listeners.
Nobody wants to go it on their own. Everyone wants to know they're not alone.
Before long, backlash online and from the rock community became a cliche in its own right. Nickelback remains one of the best-selling rock bands of our time with a quietly ample fan base. But they continue to openly embrace the mainstream brand, even as a group people love to hate. Number 16. Fall Out Boy. Fall Out Boy were a fixture of 2000s pop punk, emphasis on pop.
This is side 1, flip me over.
Their infectious and subversive energy hooked a cult fan base before the album From Under the Cork Tree broke them out.
Going down, around, and Sugarwood going down swinging.
They continued to balance dynamic musicianship and stardom until they disbanded in 2009. By then, though, Fall Out Boy had started to fall off into pop tropes with their music and industry brand.
Idiot, please, let's hear it for America's sweetheart.
This trend continued after they regrouped in 2013. They even collaborated with the likes of DJ Steve Aoki, rappers Jay-Z and Lil Wayne, and Taylor Swift. Many fans have fallen out with Fall Out Boy over this loss of irony. But they can't argue with the band's growing success or their return to form with 2023's So Much for Stardust.
Sending my love from the other side of the apocalypse.
Number 15. Kings of Leon. Kings of Leon have always been a proper family affair for the Follow-Wills.
You want it, she got it. Father's tangled on a chain of mine.
Their nitty-gritty mix of garage rock and bluesy southern rock moved critics, but saw uneven sales. With Only by Night, focus moved more toward anthemic hooks and other commercial elements. The album was a worldwide sensation, spawning the signature songs Sex on Fire and Use Somebody. New fans didn't realize that these hits were a departure from Kings of Leon's edgier early work.
Someone like you.
The band itself seemed to lose sight of that as they drifted into alternative and indie. The Follow-Wills may still be truly independent artists, but their prosperity has come at the expense of a truly original style.
Nothing to do with love.
Number 14. Foo Fighters. As the drummer for Nirvana, Dave Grohl represented 90s grunge at its rawest. He really changed his tune as frontman for the Foo Fighters.
Hello, I've waited here for you.
The post-grunge Trailblazers became one of the biggest bands around, mixing brighter hard rock into alternative grit. And yet, over time, they become a parody of this persona. Grohl's relatively wholesome image and music industry networking are a far cry from the late Kurt Cobain's cynicism. By the 2010s, the Foo Fighters completely pivoted to mainstream rock and even pop. Never mind jamming with David Lee Roth, Justin Timberlake, and deadmau5. The Foo Fighters remain highly respected as true music lovers. But however you feel about it, they may formally represent the demise of anti-establishment grunge. Number 13. Sugar Ray. Contrary to their name, Sugar Ray wasn't always so sweet.
Main machine! Main machine!
My daddy said, son, you're gonna drive and drinking.
They spent most of the 90s in the new metal craze, with edgy funk and risque imagery. They also mingled many genres without scoring a proper hit. Then the most heavy album, Floored, took a turn into reggae fusion with Fly.
I just wanna fly.
The unexpected summer sensation convinced Sugar Ray to clean up their act with frilly pop rock.
Every morning there's a halo hanging from the corner of my girlfriend's four-post bed.
They became one of the hottest party bands of the early 2000s, and even many critics warmed up to them. Still, it was such a radical stylistic change that metal fans had to admit that Sugar Ray were in that genre for the fad. At least the band has never really acted otherwise.
Our favorite TV shows have gone out the window.
Number 12. Rage Against the Machine. Selling out doesn't always mean sacrificing your sound or even your politics.
Some of those that work forces draw the same that burn crosses.
Rage Against the Machine did more than set the standard for rap metal. They brought an intensely anti-capitalist, anti-establishment agenda to a wide audience. But many true believers believe they sold their soul to do it.
Jesus blessed me with his future, and I protect it with fire.
RATM's star-making deal with Epic Records, a subsidiary of Sony, sparked underground controversy. Then came the merch, the movie soundtracks, and more. Guitarist Tom Morello maintains that fortune was a small price to pay to promote the cause. He and his bandmates remain dedicated socialism activists and philanthropists. Alas, the consistently growing music industry presence and concert prices, with no new material over 2 reunions, point to the revolution being co-opted.
Now testify! Testify!
Number 11. Gwen Stefani. It's not unusual for band members to go a more mainstream direction in their solo careers, but Gwen Stefani is a case unlike any other. The ska punk outfit No Doubt made the singer an alternative idol throughout the 90s. Their unique style and underdog spirit superseded the pop elements. By the time No Doubt first disbanded, Stefani became one of the music industry's most quintessential pop stars. From dance to hip-hop to a Christmas album, she achieved immense commercial success on her own. Bringing that flamboyant persona to other media and fashion design has further made her iconic. It's hard to believe that this pop diva was once a punk, but Stefani herself admits that her lucrative solo brand was contrived. Number 10. Aerosmith. Throughout the 1970s, Aerosmith was one of the biggest bands in the world. However, in the 1980s, internal conflicts ruined the band and their popularity suffered as a result, making for some less than stellar years for the once great group. In order to regain their status as rock and roll kings, they collaborated with rap group Run DMC in a rather risky but also genius career move. Their following Permanent Vacation went on to go multi-platinum, restoring the band's cool factor until I Don't Want to Miss a Thing once again earned the ire of fans in 1998. Number 9. Liz Phair. One of the most influential artists of the 90s, alt-rock queen Liz Phair could seemingly do no wrong by the turn of the millennium. That was until she was offered some extra cash to do work with the masterminds behind pop stars Avril Lavigne and Hilary Duff.
Get a load of me, get a load of you, walking down the street and I hardly know you.
With the release of her 2003 self-titled pop rock album, the backlash towards the singer was endless, with one review from Pitchfork giving the album 0 out of 10 and accusing Phair of being reduced to cheap publicity stunts. The hate train didn't quite die down thereafter either, as her next 2 releases received mixed reviews. However, her 2021 album Soberish brought her back to her indie rock roots to positive reception.
I don't wanna think about it, 'cause thinking about it is too hard.
Number 8. Nicki Minaj. All right. Hear us out. Before Superbass established Nicki as a pop star sensation, she was spitting fire as an underground rapper. And a pretty talented one at that.
I don't wanna hear what you would, what you coulda. I represent all the girls that stood up. Used to drink water with a letter, but I sugar.
Originally signed to indie label Dirty Money Entertainment, Minaj quickly made a name for herself through several critically acclaimed mixtapes before becoming noticed by Lil Wayne.
He say, Nicki, don't stop, you the bestest. And I just be coming off the top as bestest.
This was followed by her debut, Pink Friday, and being heavily featured on Kanye West's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Let me get this straight. Wait, I'm the rookie, but my features and my shows 10 times your pay.
One brief stint as a judge on American Idol, and a few highly successful, though some might say generic, mainstream pop songs later, and Nicki Minaj has longtime fans scratching their heads. And various personal controversies haven't helped matters either. Number 7. David Guetta. Guetta is a DJ and remix artist from France known for a unique electro house sound that no one else can fully replicate.
Just a little more love, just a little more peace, is all it takes.
However, his third studio album, Pop Life, featured vocals from popular British singer Tara McDonald. His collaborations didn't end there, as he was soon working with stars like Akon, Nicki Minaj, and Snoop Dogg. Means he hasn't quite been able to shake his ties to pop music.
I wanna make you sweat. I just wanna make you sweat.
We're not saying going pop inherently means selling out, but EDM fans in general, and Guetta in particular, has said that as he's found his mainstream groove, his music has lost its soul. Guetta's said frequently that he's not trying to be credible. He's trying to be incredible. We'll just leave that there.
Say my name, say my name. If you love me, let me hear you.
Number 6. Taylor Swift. While T-Swift was always a popular artist, you can clearly see when she started trying to court the widest audience possible.
You said the way my blue eyes shine, but those Georgia stars to shame that night.
She started as a sweet and innocent country girl, singing cute tunes about boys and receiving acclaim and popularity for doing so. It wasn't until 2012's Red that listeners began noticing a distinct change in her sound. That is, until 2014's 1989 burst into full-blown pop territory.
'Cause the players gonna play, and the haters gonna hate.
Soon enough, she went from being one of the most famous artists around to being arguably the most famous person in the entire world. We doubt that would happen if she had stuck with country.
It's a cruel summer.
Number 5. Maroon 5. Don't deny it, songs like Sunday Morning and This Love were your jam back in the early 2000s.
This love has taken its toll on me.
They were fun, light songs, but with meaning and care put behind them. So we imagine you were excited to see what the band had in store for you next.
She said bye too many times before.
You may have been disappointed by what Adam Levine and the boys dished up, with some accusing them of focusing too much on the hunky and bankable looks of their frontman and not enough on actual musical artistry.
Take me by the tongue and I'll know you. Kiss me till you're drunk and I'll show you.
Gone were the blue-eyed, soul-inspired tunes of the group's debut, and in their place were admittedly catchy yet undeniably poppy productions that just didn't live up to what fans had to expect from them.
I've got them moves like Jagger.
Number 4. Coldplay. Coldplay was one of the most important legacies of Britpop in the 2000s.
Look at the stars, look how they shine for you.
Their rich alternative anthems and haunting ballads led a new generation of British rock.
Nobody said it was easy.
But after they swept the Grammys with their art-pop-oriented album Viva La Vida, the art part started to slip. Coldplay began to focus on more arena-filling hits and collaborations with the least alternative artists in the industry. That includes Kylie Minogue, Beyoncé, Selena Gomez, and BTS. Chris Martin has even milked his image as an eccentric artist and frontman. Coldplay's initial demographic has practically become their biggest haters. They may have never abandoned their personnel or personal artistry, but their stylistic shift is one of the most polarizing in modern rock.
Champion of the
Number 3. Metallica. Metallica was easily one of the best and most popular heavy metal bands throughout the 80s, creating masterpieces like Master of Puppets and Justice for All played with rapid precision and power.
I cannot live, I cannot die, trapped in myself, fighting my only fear.
Then 1991 happened. Critics and hardcore fans alike criticized the band's eponymous album for its more radio-friendly direction, with softened guitars and lyrics.
And nothing else matters.
The band's image changed as well, but to the chagrin of avid listeners, these alterations were met with decent record sales and not abject failure. Ultimately, the final nail in the coffin was the Napster fiasco, when almost everyone, and not just the haters, finally accused the group of being a little too money hungry. Number 2. The Black Eyed Peas. Believe it or not, there was a time when the Black Eyed Peas weren't singing about humps and feelings and shutting up.
Focus on this, the air seductionist, more than lyricists in this rap metropolis.
The group was created in 1992 and released some pretty decent alternative hip-hop albums, but they couldn't quite find an audience.
We don't use dollars to represent, we just use our innocence and talent.
2003's Elefunk was the first album recorded with new band member Fergie, and the group found wild success with Where's the Love.
That's the reason why sometimes I'm feeling under. That's the reason why sometimes I'm feeling down.
It was after that success the band's sound shifted sharply to a more party-style vibe, a change that was likely a drastic and frustrating one for longtime fans of BEP's early underground work.
I'm sold 3008, you sold 2000 and late. I got that boom, 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 that future boom, boom, boom.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Kiss. It's not all bad for a band to sell out, at least when that's already their brand. Kiss are undoubtedly talented rockers, with scores of infectious classics. But they're equally recognized for their adaptiveness to pop and consumer trends across 50 years. They punctually latched on to disco, glam metal, grunge, and other hot genres. Meanwhile, the live shows kept getting more over the top, and virtually every merchandising opportunity imaginable was exploited. Some fans feel that this has diluted Kiss's artistry over time. Others believe the band never hid their commercial ambitions. Either way, one of the most profitable rock acts of all time knows how to sell out right. The most important part is dedication to producing a quality product. Which musicians do you feel changed for the better for their bank accounts? Give your feedback in the comments.
This is Dr. Love! And this is Dr. Pepper Cherry.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.